Right, so in this track here, I've loaded up a Kick2, which is a kick drum synthesizer, and it's great. So here's the initialized patch, and it's kind of like this shape, and it's quite long, and yeah, this is what it looks like. Now the shape I'm going to be looking for from my kick is more like a continuous curve, bit like that. So it goes down nice and smoothly. So let's just write in some MIDI here. So create myself a new MIDI region, and it doesn't matter on the kick. On this kick drum synthesizer, all notes, they just play the same. So it doesn't matter where on the keyboard you place them. Yeah, so nice simple kick drum pattern. Cool. And then I'll loop this so it'll just play around and I can hear the kick drum and I can tweak it as I like. So I'm going to go to the amp, and this is basically volume over time. So time along the bottom, volume along the side. And what I'm going to do is just make sure it's full volume for most of it. Now, because we're doing quite a slow tune at 75 BPM, I'm going to set this to have stopped by the time a quarter note comes in, which is this 1.1.2. For faster music, you know, kind of like dance floor kind of stuff, you might want to have it a half note, so that would be coming to 1.1.3. But because we're on a slow, we've got plenty of space in between the beats to play with, so a quarter note will do just fine. We'll get plenty of time out of that. And I'm just going to leave that as is for now, because I always find it's best to tune the kick after you've got a bit of bass in. But what I'm going to do next is I've got a second track with a second kick 2 here. And what this is going to be is this is going to be my snare, the bottom end of my snare. So we're going to be in E. So what I'm going to do is set these last two nodes to be on E. So this flat line here is an E. So we've got pitch on the side and we've got time on the bottom. So you can see here the pitch is coming down in this kind of curve, and then it lands on this pitch here, which is an E, which will be in tune with our track. Now obviously you can mess with because we're in the key of E, I'm choosing E, that's the root note. You can of course mess around with doing this on different notes, or a more kind of like non-psychedelic way of doing it is just to have the continuous curve going down like the kick, but just not go as low as the kick. But I find for like the Psy music, it's quite nice to have this kind of like tonal note element to the snare. And for the snare kick, I always go quite short. Now let's get a bit of MIDI in here. Cool. I actually think I want this to be even shorter than that. may have gone too far now. That seems about right. And note here how I've set both of these tracks to be -15 on here, and that is because I'll be leveling everything else to the kick. Now the kick is usually the loudest element in your mix, or one of them anyway. So, and having that as a solid element that you can build the level of everything else off of is really good. And because obviously once everything is added together, that makes it very loud. So when you're coming out of your master, you'll then be way too loud and you'll have to turn it down. Instead, if you turn the kick down to -15 from the start, hopefully when everything is added together, it should be about right. A good level on the main, but not peaking. And yeah, hopefully that is the plan.